Alaikum wa rahmatullah. Let us begin. You just had lunch, so sleeping may become a norm after lunch, but please do not sleep. If you feel sleepy, just stand up and sit back now. Inshallah, we are going to do, we have from now until 3:30, and in this time slot, we're going to do Guyana and Suriname. We'll start with Guyana first. Inshallah, they will present their report. And then we'll do Suriname. So we have Guyana will be about 20 minutes, inshallah, right? And we'll have Suriname thereafter. Inshallah, Suriname will take a longer time. There are more organizations. So we have for Guyana Sister Alima Nasser. She will present for the Central Islamic Organization of Guyana. And we have Brother Wazir Bach. She will present for the Guyana Islamic Trust. They are represented. So, tafadhal.
In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful, peace and blessings on our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Our dear chairman of today's proceedings, my fellow Guyanese brother Wazir Bach, all you fellow delegates of this conference, the organizers, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I will very briefly, because we only have 10 minutes, we were told, go through with you some of the programs of the Central Islamic Organizations of Guyana, which is the largest Islamic organization in Guyana, with the Guyana Islamic Trust coming close. And we do work together on some programs. With a quick overview, the population is 750,000. Islam is about, the Muslims are about 14%. Islam came to Guyana first with the African slaves. When they came to Guyana, a lot of them were Muslims. They spoke Arabic, they wrote Arabic, but of course the slave masters quickly got rid of all of that from them, sort them out, they split up families and went on like that. The Muslim population increased with the coming of the Indian indentured laborers in 1838. The Muslim community in Guyana is very vibrant and expanding, but we are also losing our membership because we have a high rate of migration. If we go to North America, we find Guyanese everywhere. All our persons who are trained, whether it's Islamically or otherwise, they're all there. We need to get them back. The current number of Muslims is about 105,000. That's just an approximate, 14% of our population. Mostly of Indian descent. There's about 86% of the Muslims in Guyana are of Indian descent. 11 is African, and we have some Amerindian persons who are accepting Islam. Now in some of the hinterland communities, there are one or two masajid that are being built in those communities. The Muslim community is mostly, as you can see, of the Ahl Sunnah wal Jamaat. There's general peace among all the Muslims of different denominations, well, different sects. We have a good cordial relation among us. There are over 140 masajids in Guyana, and the main one being the Queenstown Jama Masjid, which is in the heart of Georgetown. The Islamic organizations, as I just mentioned, the CIOG and the GIT are the two main Islamic organizations in Guyana, and both organizations have schools run by them, and CIOG provides a monthly zakat to there's a zakat distribution on medical assistance, housing and repairs, financial assistance to orphans and vulnerable children. We also have funeral services, clothing and grocery hamper distribution, as well as regular feeding programs. CIOG was formed in 1979 with the first president being my father, Mansoor Ahmed Nasir, may Allah grant him Jannah. It's an umbrella organization, and it's very, very service oriented as well. We have the zakat distribution to 1,244 Muslims on a monthly basis. The orphan and vulnerable children's sponsorship has to 425 children. This has been excellent for the children who either were deserted by their fathers. You know, there's so many single parent homes, or their father have died, and they are ensured that they have access to schooling. They attend the CIOG school. They're picked up. The buses pick them up from wherever they live and take them to school and back, and they're helped with school books and school fees, and generally being supported by this the orphan and vulnerable sponsorship. Funeral services. As we all know, funeral services and the general community is very, very expensive, and CIOG provides a full service to persons who cannot afford. It's free of cost. They provide transportation, the bathing of the mayat, the shrouding, everything they would do for the persons who cannot afford. Those who can afford will pay either part or all of the costs. CIOG trains teachers and dawah workers who provide assistance and services to they go back to their own communities and work within their communities. As you know, most of Guyana, the population lives on the coastland, and it's from the Berbice area to the Essequibo area, but the distances are great to get from one area to the next. So we train people from those areas, and then they go back and work within their own communities. CIOG operates 2 schools. There's scholarships. 2 students who do well at their O levels or CXC level. This is from the Islamic Development Bank. They have the scholarship program, and they do have television, radio, and print publications. And although I'm giving you an account of the CIOG, I really was invited here to come and talk about the women's arm of CIOG, NACOSA. So I'll go into details about that a little further on. CIOG has Qurbani services. Many persons from all different parts of the world would send money to have their Qurbanis done in Guyana, and the meat is distributed among the poor communities. Also, there's building and repairs of the masajid. There's the Hajj and Umrah services on a yearly basis, headed by Sheikh Moin al-Haq, the head of the Dawah and Education. From the pictures you can see, this is the first one is It was the Orphan and Vulnerable Children Fund Day. This is an annual event. And in the audience there you can see Mrs. Granger, who is the First Lady of Guyana, the Prime Minister, and next to him is the American Ambassador. So we have support from all those persons. This is a feed-in program and medical outreach. Hajj and Umrah, the education committee, there's programs at the schools and computer classes, and that's a graduation of the children who finish their exams. Activities for the women and youth. NACOSA, which is the National Committee of Sisters Affairs, it's a women's arm. This is a network of women across the country that run through the web of all the masajids. We work from the compounds of the masajid. NACOSA's mission is to raise the level of education and the quality of life of women throughout Guyana, and was established in 1992 to develop self-reliance of women through education, nutrition training, and healthcare activities, and to provide social and economic assistance. Some of the activities and services provided by NACOSA, the first in the education department, there's Islamic classes, seminars, madrasa classes for children, and from the back of your package, you said you wanted some questions answered. So one you talk about the education of the Muslim community. We have a lot of professionals who are Muslims. We have the DPP, the Director of Public Prosecution. She is a Muslim woman in hijab. We have quite a few lawyers. We have minister, but of course some of these people are not as practicing as we would like them to be. We have some doctors who are Muslim as well. Women empowerment programs, we have, in the past we had some very successful women empowerment and income generating programs, which was funded by two Canadian organizations, the Islamic Development Relief Foundation of Canada and Human Concern International of Canada as well. I recently sent another project proposal to them, and they came to Guyana, visited, they went to the project site, and they were very pleased with what they saw. And while I was there trying to keep the figures down, they wanted to add to it and put a business component to the project so that these women can be trained as how to start their own businesses, and if they work so much, how much money they will get, and etc. We have cancer camps. Now, the World Health Organization has declared Guyana with the highest cervical cancer deaths in the world. This is per capita. And one of the reasons for that is poverty. A lot of these women cannot afford to go and get regular tests. And when they get sick, it's already too late. When they have symptoms of the cancer, it's already too late. It's already in stage 4 and it's too late. So what I've been doing is going around the country and having camps. Dr. Mujahid Ghazi, he supports with a team, and we provide free pap smears and breast examinations to women. And out of each camp that we have, if we see between 60 and 80 persons on that day, at least over 20 of them have issues. The rate is extremely high, and so this way, some of them can get help, either in stage 1 or stage 2, and it is, they can help. And as you were talking earlier about funding and finances, I have to let you know that for the cancer camps, I have never had to ask anybody to fund to offset the cost of the pap smear kits. When people see or they hear or they see on Facebook page what we're doing, they come up and offer their help, financial help. Okay. So we have a radio and change, okay. We also assist in the bathing and shrouding of the female mayat. We visit sick at home. We have a lot of domestic violence is very, very high in Guyana as well as the rest of the world. And we have programs. When we have our seminars, we include persons talking about domestic violence and how to prevent. Rights of the child awareness programs. As I head the Constitutional Commission in Guyana, the Rights of the Child Commission, and I try to include our Muslim children in this program. Breastfeeding promotion, the rate of infant mortality was very, very high. And so through the Ministry of Health and the Breastfeeding Committee, we've been doing a lot of work promoting breastfeeding, and alhamdulillah, this number has been reduced. Secure programs, we have national and international Qasida competition, literacy programs, of course we support the orphans and vulnerable children. This is I spoke about this already, the Women Empowerment Project. It's 2 6-month programs. Here we can see the launching of one of the programs, the IDRF, the women, this is sewing and catering. Just go back one. Yeah, at the bottom there's a parenting skills training. Now we have a lot of women, parents who ill-treat their children, scream at them, treat them badly. So we've been doing a series of training. It's 9 weeks, 1 day a week, of women training them how they should deal with their children, who is the future of our ummah, you know. And so this has been very successful. Before that program is finished, we have women who are very tearful and said, I wish I had known all of this before. I would have treated my children differently. And even the atmosphere in the home has changed. We have the Child Rights Awareness Program. For the elderly, we have programs dealing with the elderly. A lot of these elderly people, they go and line up to collect their pensions on a monthly basis. And they're there since 4 o'clock in the morning, nowhere to sit, nothing to eat, nothing to drink. So we set up tents and chairs and we offer them breakfast. We make about 200 cups of tea and coffee and a sandwich. And I have to tell you this quickly, that one guy went to collect his money, and when the teller gave him his money, he looked at it, he said, you give me too much. You'll have to take this out of your pocket. She said, no, this is the amount you get every month. He started to cry. He says that every month his son gives him $5,000 and he gives him $1,000 and keeps $4,000. And he's supposed to be collecting $18,000 Guyana dollars on a monthly basis. This is only one such case. We have a lot of elderly abuse in Guyana. So we are trying to do programs with them. Ramadan programs, we have publications. You can go ahead. We have in Guyana, at a recent program where the Prime Minister and some ministers were there, I started off my program by saying it was during Ramadan, Ramadan greetings to you all. And the reason why I did that is because in Guyana is one of the few countries in the world where we enjoy Muslim tolerance for Islam. Where sisters are allowed to, in every sphere of society, to wear their hijab without a problem. Government supports all our programs. CIOG has been endorsed by the government of Guyana, and they invite members to collaborate and sit on several committees and commissions from the ministries. There are regular Dawah programs, which includes seminars, Islamic and vocational training. In the hinterland, as I said earlier, the Amerindian communities are now, a lot of them have been accepting Islam, and there's masajids being built. I think Brother Wazir will tell you a little bit more about that. We have the IRO, the Interreligious Organization, and there is collaborations with the government through all the work, the cancer camps, the Rights of the Child Commission, all the different ministries, the Mothers Union, and the Hindu Dharmic Sabha. So we interact with all of these. This picture here is, there was an iftar program, and the president of Guyana, President Granger, he attended and he spoke at that program. So these are links with the Muslim countries, the Islamic Development Bank. We get funding from the Zakah House of Kuwait, International Islamic Charitable Organization of Kuwait, and Guyana became the 53rd member of Islamic Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, ISESCO, Committee of the OIC. Well, links with the Caribbean and the Americas. Abraham Tent of New York sponsors some of the non-Muslim orphan children. The Human Concern International sponsors Muslim. Suriname and Trinidad, there's collaboration through the Qasida competition. The three countries get together and they promote the love for the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and promote Urdu, and also there is collaboration between the three countries. And also we are very close to the Barbados Muslim community. And here is the head of the IDRF and one of the executive director signing the last project document. And here we have His Excellency Yad Madani of OIC making a presentation. He visited CIOG and he made a presentation. I thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum. I just continue Guyana report. I am from the other Muslim group. I mean the large Muslim group, Guyana Islamic Trust. And I will not go back to the history of slavery and indentureship. I just want to fast forward and deal with the GIT. The GIT came in, the genesis of the GIT started in 1977 with the coming of Brother Ahmad Ahwaz from Libya to Guyana. He was the charge d'affaires for the Libyan embassy there, and he started to work with the youths of Guyana. And from there on, in 1978, this GIT came into being as a registered Muslim organization in Guyana. Our primary focus in those early years was just on education. So we used to have 2-week courses during the school breaks for both brothers and sisters. We have teachers training program. We have leadership program. As a matter of fact, the first Caribbean leadership program that I'm aware of, based on our records, was in Guyana in 1978. I've been quite a few of the brothers, I don't know how many are here now, attended that program. And then subsequently in 1981, we had the second Caribbean leadership program in Trinidad. Basically, then in 1981, 82, we had 2 1-year Islamic course program in Guyana for brothers of the Caribbean. And in 1981, the Caribbean Islamic Trust was formed, which was renamed in 1982 ICLA, right? And this comprised of the graduates of the the one-year course from the Caribbean, and also other brothers like Brother Abdurrahman and other brothers. They formulate and they used to start. I think finance, if my recollection is well, was one of the main issue for them to reach and to continue the program. So finance was an issue. In those days, the Islamic community in Guyana was very poor. Poor in the sense that finance wasn't an easy to get. Alhamdulillah, that has changed. Coming through from the Guyana Islamic Trust of the year course, the brothers from Guyana who went to the 2-year courses, they came from different parts of Guyana and they went back and they started to work with the community. In 1979, the CIG came into being for very good reasons. And I had a good opportunity. In my university days, I have to do a paper, and I wrote on a personality, and I chose Sister Alima's father to write on. So I had a good opportunity to interview him and interview Fazil Feroz, and so understanding why the CIG came into being. There are very good reasons why it came into being. We can't go through that now, we can talk on the side. So the GIT came and we worked and we evolved. In 1986, we set up the Guyana Islamic Institute. 1986, Guyana Islamic Institute was a 4-year program, but then it was reduced to 3 years, 2 years, and 1 year. And now we are there, still with the Guyana Islamic Institute. Brothers from across the Caribbean, and even some from Ghana and England, they came and studied at the Institute. We have the certificate program and the diploma program, and 3 years ago we started a Tahfiz program where students will go and memorize the Quran. Alhamdulillah, we have the teachers there, they studied the Quran in Syria, and the president of the GIT, Sheikh Abdul Alim, he did Quran, he's a Hafizul Quran, he's a Qari, with some of the best Quran teachers they have in that part of the world. I mean, that he came. So Alhamdulillah, we're going to that. Now, we concentrate a lot on education. So we have educational program catering for children. We call it Madrasa program. We have educational program catering for adults. We call it Islamic educational program. And we have educational program which we call Study Circle to develop workers. We have 3 stages. And if somebody should start with the Islamic education program and complete, it takes about 5 years and maybe 6, but fully grounded to do the dawah and to take on responsibility in the community. So those are the programs. So we have residential courses during the school breaks. Now this is the 3rd year, our residential courses in the summer holiday. The brothers, we are working jointly with the CIOG and the Muslim Youth Organization of Guyana. So we have a joint program for the past, this year will be the 3rd year we are doing it. Alhamdulillah, so far so good. And then we have non-residential courses in different parts of Guyana. Students will come during the school break, brothers, sisters, they will come in the morning, go back in the evening. And they will go for a week. We have youth camps. We have different type of youth camps. We have youth camps at the masjid for 24 hours. What we do to assist our youth to grow, we try to create environments for them. So the youth camp, popularly known, those who know, Dawood Abdullah might remember, is the Liqa'at. The brothers will spend 24 hours there. We try to create an environment for them. So they help them with their own Islamic development. We also have outdoor camping. The youths like to go out and swim and stay in the night and in the what have you. And also we have leadership camps, which should last for a week. We have seminars, we have monthly lectures, children program, the variety of program, Children Day. They will involve in sports and what have you. We have children quiz competition. They will reach and get quiz competition. And we have Qiyamul Layl, where we spend the night, overnight. We go for the night. We have lectures, and we also have, in the early morning, we pray tahajjud and what have you. So we'll have them continuously. Additional to that, we have a sister arm, which we call NISA, National Islamic Sisters Association. They have a number of activities, but we don't have a sisters education committee. GIT has one education committee look after education for both brothers and sisters, and the committee comprises brothers and sisters. Majority of the people are either they are qualified in Islamic institution or they are qualified educators to assist with the development of programs and curriculum or what have you. That's for the mass programs. We also we run Islamic schools. So we have some elementary schools, and we have the Islamic school in East Street. Our school is one of the top schools in the country in performance at examination, both at the grade 6 examination and also the Caribbean examination. We have over 400 students attending Isa Islamic School. The GIT, we received an award last year from the government of Guyana for award of service for the things that we do in the country. I mean, we deal different things. We deal with disasters program when they have flood and other kind of disaster. We go out and do things and so forth. So we also have Islam Awareness Week. Trinidad has, but since 1995, we started Islam Awareness Week. It's an annual event in Guyana. It's a Guyanese Muslim thing now in Guyana. But through Islam Awareness Week, thousands of people took Shahada over the years. So we have a number of masjid evolve for new Muslims because of Islam Awareness Week. In Queenstown, Essequibo, African community, masjid is built there. We built another masjid in Dartmouth, Essequibo. We're working in Sophia, and in Sophia we have the government give us a piece of land, with the Islamic Development Bank give us a grant, and we have to raise some more funds, so we are building a social center there. In Albaistong, we were given a piece of land, we built a masjid and a social center in Albaistong, working with the people there. And so Islam Awareness Week, we have evolved and developed, and we can share that with brothers in other communities, some of the ideas and thought you go about doing that. But we are working with the communities to build them, you know, do all kind of skill training program, facilitating small businesses. We also have a scholarship grant. This morning, Brother Dawood Abdullah was speaking about, we have a scholarship grant. And this is basically, we assist students for higher studies. But we don't give them total. We don't give more than $1,000 US. All right? So students from Guyana who may be in Cuba because of food situation, so they will have to get other external money. We will assist them with X every year. The Muslim student, they will come to us. Students study in Guyana at university, they will come to us. But we don't propagate it too much because only just about 10% of our budget we just put aside for it. And if you put it too much, we're not able to. Then you will get accusation of, having friends and looking at people. So it's done easily. So students will inform students easily and they will get it because only so much we can do. But we started that because we believe it is important for Muslims to take higher education, and we hope, inshallah, that we can expand on it. We supported efforts in various places through the Guyanese Muslim community in respect to disasters, like when we had the earthquake in Haiti. The Guyanese Muslim community, through effort they donated, we went and assist. Even in Pakistan in 2006, Guyanese Muslim community donated heavily, and through the Red Cross and Red Crescent, we were able to assist even till in Pakistan. So time and again, Kosovo and Bosnia. They came to Guyana and raised a lot for the Muslim community, a lot of funds from the Muslim community when such need arise. So these are some of the things that we do. Our future plans, immediate future plan is we need to work a lot to develop leaders. Because we believe the critical point for the Muslims in Guyana and the region is leadership. Because we believe weak leadership will cause a number of groups, splinter groups all over the place. All right? And in Guyana we had, brothers, and so in the Caribbean will know that in Guyana there were little conflicts between Muslim organizations, and alhamdulillah, we were able to iron out those by dialogue. The leaders will go, they will go for lunch, we'll sit over the table and talk it out. And develop that personal rapport, and eventually we deal with the bigger issues. So we used to have 3 Eids in Guyana, 3 days, different days Eid. Alhamdulillah, now we get in one. Everybody coordinating it now. So moon sighting is not a big issue, and as a matter of fact, in the Caribbean largely, we take sighting from each other now. This Eid, Trinidad, Barbados, Suriname, they took our sighting. And so we will take Suriname sighting, Trinidad sighting, even Barbados sighting, so we will do that and observe our Eid. So we don't have those difficulties that we have in the old days. There are a lot of cordiality within the Muslim community, and like one person was asking me today, how is the racial problem in Guyana? In our analysis, our racial problem in Guyana is more politics, because the 2 major parties, they are race-based. Alhamdulillah, now the present government is a coalition, race coalition. But within the Guyanese community, the Guyanese people, they have transcended politics. So Guyanese as a whole, we have great cordiality, ethnically and religiously. So we do things together, we will deal with national issues together through civil society and so forth. Our government, all the governments, we never have really had difficulty with governments in our country, and they're supporting what we have. They will assist us in so many different ways. Sometimes they give us duty-free concession. They will give us, we need visa, they will use the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, their diplomatic pouch, to get visas for us for students, travel abroad, people going for Hajj, to Venezuela, because we don't have any any Saudi embassy in Guyana. So they will go there and they will come back through diplomatic channels. So we have cordial relationship with the government and cordial relationship with the Guyanese people. And lastly, but not least, Guyanese Muslims are very much respected by the Guyanese population. Even the police, you're driving on the road and they recognize you're Muslim, they will treat you different. Even when you breach the traffic rule, they will treat you different for some reason or the other. And I believe because of the things that we do for Guyana as a Muslim community, not only GITC, IOG, and Muslim individuals, what they do for Guyana. Because it's public knowledge, everybody knows, and Guyana is a small place. And only 5% of the land space, the population occupied. So communication is very easy. So that's it.
Okay, we'll go straight into Suriname. The brothers and sisters from Suriname can come up, inshallah.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah rabbil alamin, wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya wal mursalin, nabiyina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Respected brothers and sisters, alhamdulillah, we are very honored to be here to present the report from Suriname. We know that the schedule is very tight, so we decided to have a general presentation, and each of us will, after that, do a presentation especially on the organization that we represent. My name is Stanley Surupawiro, known as Burhan. Then we have our brother Tariq Jamaluddin. After that, our brother Abu Bakr Hasbar will present, and then we have our brother Ustad Rahmat Murtabat. So I will start with the general presentation. Country name Suriname, we all in the Caribbean know that. Capital Paramaribo, and the population according to the census of 2012, 541,638. According to the last what they said about Suriname is that the number is now more than 550,000 in population. Languages, Suriname is known as a Dutch-speaking country. We learn English at school, but we have what we call a lingua franca, that is Sranang. Most people in Ghana call it Taki-Taki, but the real name is Sranang. But these are not the three only languages. We have several other languages. We have Sarnami, that is spoken by the Indian descendants, at home, with each other. Japanese, and we have the Maroon languages, Indian languages, the Chinese, Hakka and Mandarin. Portuguese, we have a rather large community of Brazilian in Suriname, so they speak also Portuguese. History of Suriname, according to speculation, they say that the first Muslim came with the African that were brought by the Dutch as slaves to Suriname. There hasn't been a study about that yet, but inshallah that will be conducted. After that, the second group came with the British Indian. They came as indentured laborers. They were brought by the Dutch also after the abolition of slavery. And the third group, that was the largest group of Muslims that came to Suriname, were from Java. The country with the name Indonesia didn't exist yet. The biggest island was known as Java, and the workers were taken from Java. About 90% of these workers were Muslim. From the British Indian, about 10% were Muslim. As we look at the numbers of Muslim, we have three big religions in Suriname: Christianity, Hinduism, Islam. And about 48.4%, according to the census of 2012, are Christians. Then we have Hinduism, 22.3%, Islam, 13.9%. In the census, we had a special request at the Bureau of Statistics that they will count also the denominations of the religions. We put also only the Islamic denominations here, but Christianity we have that also, and Hinduism. The Muslims that said they were Sunni, because at the census they only record what the person say about his religion. So the Muslims that said they were Sunnis, about 21,000. Ahmadiyya, 14,000, but about that we'll talk later on. And the one that said they don't know of, they have other denomination as Muslim, is about 39,733. Other religions we have below that. And what important is that part of they say no religion. That's a big part, and we think that many of the youngsters now they say they don't know what kind of religion they have. If you look at the ethnicity, how that is divided, the population, and we have below it how many of them are Muslim. The Hindustani community, we have 148,000, and of that number, 18,000 or 19,000 are Muslims. The Japanese community, 74,000, and about 50,000 are Muslim. The biggest group, if you look at the population, we see it's the Afro-Surinamese and others. You have mixed, you have the Amerindian, you have Arabs. About 60%. But from that group, we see that a small number are Muslims. The biggest number of Muslim is among the Japanese, about 66%. When we look at the relations among the Muslims, then we put in this table only the denomination that were taken in the census: Sunni, Ahmadiyya, other. As we said, Sunni, most of the Hindustani people, they say they are Sunnis. Japanese, some of them, they said they are Sunnis. But the people that were recorded as Ahmadiyya, there's a number there that is not according to the reality, because they included in that number 7,862 Japanese people. While we know in Suriname the reality is we don't have Ahmadiyya organization, Japanese Ahmadiyya organization. You have individuals that say they are Ahmadiyya under the Japanese, but you don't have mosques or organization that say they are Ahmadiyya. So, in fact, that number of 50,000, you have to take out the 7,000, 8,000, and then you get the real number of Ahmadiyya in Suriname. About 40,000, mostly they are Japanese that say, I don't know in which denomination I belong. Because among the Japanese, when you say Sunni, then they think about the Hindustani. What happened there with the 7,000 that were included there, because that is what they declared according to the Bureau of Statistics. In the past, we had an organization that was called Ahmadiyya Islam, a Japanese organization. But not because they were following the Ahmadiyya ideology, they named that organization because they wanted to give it a name like the Muhammadiyah movement in Indonesia. So they said, no, we are not Muhammadiyah, but we are Ahmadiyya. But in 1970, when they heard that the World Muslim League took a decision about the Ahmadiyya movement that they are not Muslim, they changed that name. It was not called Ahmadiyya Islam anymore under the Japanese, but we got a division. We got a Federation of Islamic Organization, and then other part that called itself Asafia Islam. The relationship among the Muslims in Suriname is still divided among ethnic lines. Organizations that belong to the Hindustani Muslim, Japanese Muslim, and when we look at the cooperation, collaboration between them, there's not so much collaboration. As well, the Muslim, they say they are Hanafi or they are Shafi'i, not so much cooperation. Sunni mosque with ease, because that is one of the typical things that we have only in Suriname, not in the other Caribbean countries or islands. We have two Qiblas. One that is faced to the northeast and the other in the west. And that's also a history. So the number with the east, West. That number, in fact, must be 70 instead of 30. Why has this happened? And it is still until now the same situation, because the immigrants, the workers that came from Indonesia, they thought that they were not far off from Indonesia. The same climate, the same plants, the same situation. So they thought they are not far from Indonesia. They will perform their prayers to the west like Indonesia. Only in 1930, some awareness came about that. So we see from 1930 that the Japanese started to change the Qibla. But some of them, they say no, we have to stick on to what our grandparents brought with them. We cannot leave that. So until now we have that, but Alhamdulillah, we see that they're becoming a little bit loose and they want to learn. And inshallah, we hope that nearby in the future that the Qibla in Suriname will be one. Ahmadiyya Mosque. About education, two organizations, they have schools, but those schools are not full-time Islamic, but full-time according to the curriculum of the country. They have one lesson per week about Islam. And later on, inshallah, we'll see how that works. Then we have other Islamic institutes, women activities among some of the organization, youth activities, media programs. We see that it's not so very much. It needs to be improved. Image of Islam in Suriname. Suriname is well known of the 8 prayers at the Independence Square. Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha are national holidays in Suriname. And normally it is held at the Independence Square. In this picture, we see the president of Suriname among the Muslims at the Eid prayer. Women also attend. Government support. Alhamdulillah, in Suriname, the government provide for salaries for the teachers at the schools. They get full salaries like civil servants. Besides that, we see that in the armed forces, you have also a Muslim cleric named as Mulfi, and the government provides also salary for the most clerics among the Muslims also, that are imam or they are person that has studied in the Islam. We have also some activities in the Maroon and Amar Indian villages, da'wah activities that we also have said. And the last important thing, this we can see as one of the milestones that we will have later on this year, is the opening of the first Islamic bank in Latin America. And inshallah, that will give us more opportunities to get support for da'wah work. And inshallah, it will also be a good opportunities for the Muslims in Latin America, in the Caribbean region. I will continue with the ITCON Foundation. Main objectives I have mentioned here only 4. The most important, that is Islamic education for children, for youth, free Islamic literature that are distributed at a regular basis, in collaboration with other organizations. we try to organize also the Suriname Al-Quran memorization competition. We see there the representative of the Holy Quran organization in Jeddah, that is Sheikh Abdul Shakur, the one there. At this moment, he is in Guyana, but he will return to Suriname to help us further with Tahfiz programs. What we try to do also, eco tours, educational with Muslims and others that want to see the interior of Suriname. One of the brothers there, two of the brothers, they studied in Medina. We do also halal certification, Qurban relief program in collaboration with a Turkish organization. And this is the Visionary Islamic Center that we're planning to build. This was designed by one of the sisters, she's here with us. And this was her graduation project. She achieved her Bachelor of Science, grade with that. And this is designed according to Islamic principles, according to Maqasid Sharia, what kind of principles the Islam have in building. So this was my part, and now I will give the stage to our brother Tariq to continue with his part. Bismillah. Yeah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله محمد وآله وأصحابه وأهل بيته وأزواجه وذريته أجمعين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. First of all thanks, glorification and praise is only for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Also, many thanks for the organizers. I am very honored, privileged, and blessed to be here. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless all of us, inshallah. I will speak about the SIO, which stands for Surinamese Islamic Organization. It's from the Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. It was established in 1978. A brief history of the SIO. In 1929, the Indian Muslims in Suriname were united in the SIV. And that stands for Surinamese Islamic Union. At a certain point, the SIV chose to follow the Ahmadiyya movement. And some of the Indian Muslims opposed against this alteration. And finally, the SIO was established in 1978. What were the effects of the rift? Due to this rift with the SIV, the SIO organization lost several joint possessions, such as mosques. They lost an orphanage, library, and also the cemetery. For whom is CSIO? Seems very logical, but it is irrespective of race or cultural background, because in Suriname we too often see that people belonging to a specific ethnicity have difficulties to visit mosques from another race. This is especially among the older Muslims. Fortunately, we see a trend among the youngsters that they have less difficulties to visit different kind of mosques. For instance, mosques where the Javanese people go. What is the SIO role for the society? The social awareness of the SIO includes assisting the elderly by donating food packages once a year. They are also a key member of the NMS, and the MMS is the Majlis Muslimin Suriname, and that's the overall body for Muslims in Suriname. The government often consults the MMS regarding important Islamic affairs. The purpose of the SIO. The main purpose of the SIO is spreading dawah. Due to several reasons, also lack of finance, this is now on a very low level. It used to be that in earlier days, every month there was a newspaper article, and also every month there was a TV program broadcasted by the SIO. But now there's only during the month of Ramadan a daily newspaper article and not one TV program at the moment. Talks regarding this are ongoing. The women and youth involvement of the SIO. The women are very close to the development of the youth. They play a key role at the madrasa. They are the teachers at the madrasa, and they are also the organizers of the youth camps. And the youth camps are organized once a year during the Easter vacation. They are also the organizers of the Quran recitation contest, which is held once a year. And at the SIO madrasa, the children get basic Islamic education on a part-time basis. It's only 2 days a week. This has to be improved, inshallah. The current status of the SIO, at the moment they have 3 mosques and 3 associated mosques. They managed to regain the cemetery, and they have about 2,000 members. That's less than 3% of the total Muslim population. The current chairman is Dr. Isa Jamaluddin. He's also the chairman of the IRIS, and the IRIS stands for Inter-Religious Council. And he's also the chairman of the MMS. And that's the overall body of Muslims, as I have mentioned. What is the main challenge? The main challenge at the moment is unity. Because within the Jama'ah, the unity is needed. Currently, there's a large group which strongly adhere to cultural practices which overshadows Islamic rules. On the other hand, you have a smaller group, predominantly youth, who focuses on Islamic rules, and these two views sometimes collide. So this is something we have to work on. The other challenge is dawah, because beyond the capital, beyond Paramaribo, there is no dawah activity at all. There's only there are only dawah activities in the capital and no dawah activities in the districts. Here you have some newspaper articles, some SIO mosques. Jazakallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Next speaker is Brother Abu Bakr.
17, that's error, it should be 14. And the history is because of some youngsters that were really burning to come into action, but they couldn't get their things done. Among the African Surinamese, we had some little organizations, but as you already heard, the Islam is structured through ethnic lines. So far, it's changing, but due to historical reasons, that's the way it started. And the Japanese are there, the Hindustani brothers, they are there, but there was no organization, umbrella organization for the African Surinamese. But they had some smaller organizations and foundations. And of course, they collaborated. And in 2014, they decided to formalize this collaboration. And what they want is to present Islam in a non-traditional way. Besides Salah and all the traditional things that are really important, there's more to Islam. And one of the things is that we need to go out and present Islam, especially for those that live in chaos and anarchy. We need to go and spread the word. So that takes me to the second one, the second goal. The third goal, we think that we should present the social paragraph of Islam. One of the things that is important when you do dawah is to present the social face of Islam. Charity, education, relief work, you name it. And by such, we try to contribute to the development of all through education, agricultural projects, you name it. We have now 2 service organizations and 4 masajids. There are a lot of activities, but for this presentation, I like to mention lectures that we try to organize on a regular basis. Public lectures once a month or once in every 3 months at least. Distribution of literature. Once there's an activity, we try to be there with some literature. Back to school presents, packages with school material for the youth. When it's Eid, we try to present also packages, food packages, and some other presents. We also have the Islam Awareness Week annually, and we started out doing this in 2013, and we try to reach out during the Islam Awareness Week. One thing that last year what we did was to stress that we need to have some intermixing, because although there's a change, the change is really taking place on a very, very, very slow pace. And the people, especially the ones that are not that young anymore, they tend to stick together. And they don't feel the need to go out. In fact, they think that they need to stay where they are. And we organized the week in such a way that we had activities, let's say 5 days in this period, at several masajis from different organizations. So if there's an activity at my mosque and we're in it together, and the speaker is from your organization, then you are encouraged to come. You're not forced to, but you're encouraged to come and to listen and to see and to meet and to learn. And that's what we try to do. Dawah in general, I mentioned this because just to show that in every sense we try to spread the word and attract people to Islam by the things we do. If we are somewhere, we start a conversation. We try to implement Islamic thought and Islamic ideas and Islamic information. With regard to the near future, there's some things that we would like to do and some things that we feel that are important. I will limit I will present just three. As I mentioned before, the social paragraph of Islam, that means bringing Islam alive and bringing Islam to the daily life of the community, Muslims as well as non-Muslims. To be specific, people need work. What can Islam do? What can our organization do to get jobs for these people? Try to come with projects, employment projects, agriculture projects, you name it, sewing, whatever, entrepreneurship. Guys and girls that have a skill, support them so that they can start their own business on their own, or maybe in cooperation with each other. Family and marriage support is very important. That means including partner selection, educate the youngsters, but also like Brother Ahmed was mentioning this morning, also some supervision to assist them to make choices. Marriage preparation. A lot of youngsters and some that are not so young anymore don't have a proper preparation how to handle certain things. They don't have an idea what to expect, how to deal with what's coming to them. And the Christians, they have a very structured program, because the Christian way is different. People date for a year, 2, 5, 10, and the pastor, they have a program for a year, and we don't need to wait. We do our things the Islamic way, but then again, we could present some preparation. And even if it's a nikah that already has taken place and the couple didn't have the instructions, the education, the support, afterwards they should be able to get some support. What to expect? Simple things, sometimes guys don't know how female thinks. A female don't know why is the guy doing as stupid as he is? Doesn't he have common sense? There's reasons for that. Counseling. When there are problems, people need somewhere to go. And if you look at the Western way, if it don't fit, don't force it. So go away, leave her, leave him. That's not the Islamic way. We need to educate our people and assist our people. Parenthood preparation. One of the previous speakers talked about programs to educate, especially single mothers, how to deal with their children, how to raise their children. These are important things. And counseling. These are some of the main things that we think are important. I think there's some finance. This is important. We find that once we try to undertake activities, that financing is a problem. Not all the time, but too often. Another thing is that we find that people, they have their zakat, but they don't know how to spend it. They end up just dropping it at one of the organizations. Those organizations not always really know how to spend the money, where to deliver it, where are the poor, which project should I, So we need to find a way to structure this. And we think that projects on fundraising and also on fund management should be conducted, and also strategies and techniques to do this. We think that regional leadership training for leaders, of course, both youth, including youth and women, should take place. I thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Next speaker is Brother Ustaz Rahmat Murtabat.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي ونسلم على رسول الكريم أما بعد. Being the last speaker for this group means that I should make it short, right? Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. I would firstly want to thank the organizer of this meeting and thank you also for the doubles. I have taken 4 doubles, which means that I have taken 8 singles. I don't know if you, but I've enjoyed the doubles as well as the singles. Alhamdulillah. Suriname is unique in the way that we have the largest Javanese population in whole South America. And as we have seen, Suriname is also unique by having 2 Qiblatain. We have Qiblatain. So, I would like to talk about the World Islamic Council Society. What you are about to see represents activities from since the inception of the office till 2012. Okay, so the WICS office in Suriname was established in 1987, and since then, the office has conducted a lot of activities. And from these activities, we can name them one by one, such as the establishment of the Umar al-Mukhtar Islamic School. You all know him, the Lion of the Desert. If you have seen the movie, The Lion of the Desert, Umar al-Mukhtar was a freedom fighter of Libya. And the program that the World Islamic Council Society has organized is also, as you can see, skills enhancement courses for women. Guyana, as the sister has presented, also has that. Suriname has also organized that. And at the bottom you see some pictures of students writing Arabic grammar tests. That is part of the educational plan of the World Islamic Council Society that we have. The World Islamic Council Society also organized health campaign, and one of them is the medical checkups Khitan program. Khitan program, we did this 2 times in 3 years, and whenever they came, we had days when we used to do Khitan for one day. In one day, 282. That's a record for Suriname. Usually we have maybe 2 or 3 in a week or in a month, but when they come, we do a mass Khitan program. So a circumcision for Surinamese children, especially for those who can't afford it. We also support the anti-malaria program, and it's also under the auspicion of the World Islamic Society and also financed and organized by the WICS office. We have Dawah programs. These 3 pictures are pictures of our activities that we have conducted at Amerindian villages in Suriname. And the one in the left here, we had this activity at a village called Kwamalasemutu. Let's say it is the Kwamalasemutu area, the southern border of Suriname with Brazil. So if you would fly from Paramaribo to that area, it will take you 45 minutes over the jungle of Suriname. So it is a very remote area, but we did our activities there. And the corner right side, that's the result of the Dawah program that we had, new converts from the Amerindians. So we took them to the Independence Square to the Eid prayer, and this is a photo taken after the Eid prayer. Courtesy visits to the government. We have this, our new director now. He is still active, but not in Paramaribo, but he is the appointed new director of the World Islamic Society for the Suriname office. And here we see him with the current Minister of Internal Affairs. His name is Mike Nur Salim, actually Muhammad Nur Salim, but he's a Christian. He's a Christian, and he prefers to be called Mike and not Muhammad. So this is the Minister of Internal Affairs. Those are old pictures with the former director of the World Islamic Society, Al-Marhum Juma Saad Al-Ghiryani. And then we have the activity that we conducted with the social programs like Nikah program, and also relief programs and Ramadan programs. Here we see some donation that we did and contribution. We donated computers and prints to the Ministry of Regional Development, and also from the other side of the government, we also got contributions like sports attributes like ball and game board and so. And international participation. I want to just stop at this first picture because this is a historical picture of mine when I was in Libya attending a Sufism conference. It was in 2011. Sheikh Siddiq Nas of Trinidad was also there. Why I want to talk about this picture is because the day we left the airport, the next day they bombed the airport. So if they had bombed the airport that day, I would not be here. See? So that's why it is so historical. And here I see, if you can recognize the Sheikh on the left, that is Sheikh Imran Ali from Guyana. I think for a short time he worked with CIOG, and now he's in Canada, Imam of Masjid Tariq in Toronto. And the right picture, of course, the sister of Guyana and the brother of Guyana, you know, Sheikh Mu'in al-Haq, when I visited Guyana office, CIOG office, along with the board members. So this is actually all that I can present about the WICS. WICS still exists in Suriname, but it is not that active anymore because of the fall of the Libyan regime in 2012. It is still there. Yeah. So these are the activities of WICS. As I said, WICS still exists, but not that active anymore. At the moment, you can say I'm jobless. So I would like to apply for a job in Trinidad, if that's possible. No, just kidding. But alhamdulillah, the da'wah work still goes on. You know, once you are a da'i, there's no pension for that. There's no resigning from that work. Once you're imam, you cannot resign. Once you're a da'i, you cannot resign. Once a missionary, you cannot resign. When I was in Libya and we were asking for tickets to go home, second year of college, the dean told us, why do you want to go home? And we said, we want to take a rest. You know what he told us? A Muslim never rests. Just like Dr. Tatunji said, a Muslim is an active person, so you don't rest. So thank you very much for this, for your attention. And this opportunity that you have given us to present some details and works and activities in Suriname done by us and other brothers in Suriname. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. We have gone over the time by somewhat, so we're going to just take a quick 5-minute break quickly. We are back from inshallah, we'll wrap up within the time frame, hopefully. So just take a quick 5-minute break, stretch your feet, and come back. And we'll go for Martinique, Barbados, and Grenada, inshallah.
Fode Marega, he is from Martinique, and he was converted in 1981, I think. Okay. We have a mosque being built in Fort-de-France. It started more than 20 years ago, and inshallah it will be completed soon. Okay, there is no census concerning the number of Muslim people in Martinique. First, because we live in a secular society under French laws, and there is no census concerning religious affiliation. And secondly, because the number of Muslims is always fluctuating, because there are many people coming from abroad So I mentioned people from Africa, for example, people from Arab countries, migrants from everywhere in the world. But we can broadly speak about 15 families, so it is about 200, 500 people. The community is composed by a large group of Arab people. Those people are from the early immigrant groups from Syria or Palestine. We have their family, and we have also people coming through marriages or to work on the island, and these people are from Algeria, Morocco, which are French-speaking countries in North America, in North Africa. We have also people from West Africa. And among the people who got converted, the earliest converted to Islam, we have the second and third generation because we have a lot of children. So demography is rather high within our community, and I hope, inshallah, we will have more and more people joining us. Concerning the Islamic institutions, so we have the umbrella institution, which is the Cultural Center and Mosque based in Fort-de-France. And we have the Muslim Women Association that I initiated in 2006. And there is also the Men Association, which is younger than that, established in 2014. At the mosque, we have all types of activities related to, of course, religion, religious practice, cultural events, religious learning. And there is also a full-time school which has just set up. It has, I think, it is 2 years old. So the Women Association is receiving 20 adults and as many teenagers. We have different types of activities. One of our main activities is to welcome women coming in Martinique, for example, if they got married to a non-Muslim person. We have many girls, for example, from Algeria or Morocco who get married through the internet and they arrive in our country and it is very difficult for them. So we are there to welcome them, to listen to them. And they are also converted women, and we are there also to tell them about the religion and, to help them in many different ways. There are also many people who live by themselves. I know, for example, a lady who is 80 years old and she got converted 5 years ago, and she is the only one in her family to be a Muslim, and that's very difficult. So we provide assistance, help, and comfort. Okay, we have no institution, that's all. Yeah, that's it. The image of Islam and Muslim. We have suffered a lot from the distorted images in the West, in Europe, for example in France, because you know that there were many attacks in France and Muslim people are not welcomed. But alhamdulillah, in Martinique, we live in a rather tolerant society. There are things we can do and things we can't do. But basically, we are well accepted. So far, many girls, for example, couldn't say they are Muslim. They couldn't dress modestly, because dressing modestly meant having long skirts or long dresses, long sleeves, and that was difficult for them. And alhamdulillah, now some of them are dressing modestly, so it's part of our work. For example, I'm a teacher, so I can't wear my headscarf. women are not allowed to cover their heads in France, but in Martinique, I can wear a turban, for example. So, rather positive image, I can say, in Martinique, because we can deal with each other. The imam of our mosque is treated like any other religious leader. He takes part in reflections. He can be invited by the prefecture, which is the governing body in Martinique. He participates in talks, for example, medical ethics. He is a visitor to the prison. Dawah activities, of course, we cannot do dawah activities in the open air like that, but we can be ourselves a dawah activity. I mean by that being modest and setting an example is our way to pass messages and to invite people to Islam, because people ask me or other girls, for example, oh, why do you dress like that? What is it about? Okay, and we can explain. That's the way we can conduct dawah on our island. Yes. We need to externalize, that is, to develop linked partnership with all the islands in the Caribbean. I mean that this session, I think, is an opportunity for us to open up, at least, to be with people like us, culturally, historically, and religiously. And I've never been in such a complete environment where I am a Muslim, I am a Caribbean, and I've never felt Muslim Caribbean before. And I really thank you for that. Okay.
Thank our brothers and sisters from Martinique, inshallah.
Thank you.
The next presentation is from Barbados, Brother Sabir. Yeah. Inshallah, if we have some time after this presentation on the Grenada, we will entertain some questions on the 5 countries that we have had so far, inshallah. So we should have enough time to proceed. So I'm presenting on Barbados. We have with us is myself and Brother Sabir, Brother Abdul Samad Pandor. He's coming for the education seminar. He is a teacher, so he's not actually coming in to Trinidad until Monday, and he will be here for Tuesday, inshallah. Barbados is a tiny island, if you see on the map. It's the most easterly of the Caribbean islands in the island chain. The capital of Barbados is Bridgetown. It's a small island. It's only 34 kilometers in length and 23 kilometers in width, or 431 square kilometers, 166 square miles. First visited by the Spanish, and then they didn't stay there. The Portuguese visited and left the name, and then the British came and conquered and took over the island and made it British since then. So we have always been British, a British colony. We have a population of about 285,000, with around 80,000 living in the capital city of Bridgetown. The major ethnic group in Barbados is Afro-Barbadian. They came over as slaves. Language is English, and the religions, we have about 95% Christianity. Islam is about 1% of the population. Judaism, 0.1%. Hinduism, about 0.3%. And other religions constitute about 3%. This is the mosque in the capital city. The city mosque, one of the 2 that are in the capital city of Bridgetown. As it relates to Islam and Muslims, I wanted to differ a little bit from Kwesi's presentation of the first known Muslims in the Caribbean coming with the slaves. There is evidence that Muslims came before Columbus, and Deeper Roots, Abdullah Hakim Quick mentions that in his book, and I think Ivan Van Sertima mentions they came before Columbus. So it is quite likely that there were Muslims in the islands before Columbus, and I just want to give a little anecdote about the name Barbados. As I mentioned, the Portuguese visited the island, and they named the island Barbados. And the word Barbados is a Portuguese word meaning the bearded ones. Historians generally tell you that this word came from the trees that they found on the island, trees that had hanging roots, and so the Portuguese named it Barbados. But a Caribbean linguist, he's now deceased, Dr. Richard Alsop, he said that the word did not relate to trees, it related to human beings. That the word Barbuda, which is Antigua and Barbuda, the word Barbuda actually relates to bearded trees, but Barbados related to bearded human beings. And because Amerindians carry very little facial hair, and our brothers from Suriname might attest to this, it's quite likely that there was a presence of Africans intermingling with the Amerindians that lived on the island, and perhaps they were Muslims, we never know. Among the slaves, there were Muslims. There is no authentic research done to this date, but there has been some work carried out, some investigation. And Sabir here is an author. This is his book that he has written. He wrote a few years ago. It was published and launched, and the Prime Minister of Barbados wrote the foreword for this book. It documents the history of East Indians and particularly Muslims in Barbados. But he's doing a second book on Muslims in the Caribbean, and a lot of his research will go into showing among the slaves and so on, as well as leading up to present day. So he might be interacting with some brothers here and sisters from some of the islands. So among the slaves, there have been some evidence produced in the chronicles of the missionaries, the Moravian missionaries, who lived in Barbados, and they chronicle some encounters they had with slaves, indicating that they spoke Arabic and they prayed 5 times a day. But this research needs to be done better and brought out. The first known Muslim was among the migrants, and they came from Bengal around 1910, and this is documented in the book by Sabir, and so that's where the Muslim population has started. These Bengalis were very few in number. They did not continue to come, but the Gujaratis came in the late 1920s, and from that day onwards they continued to come. We have about 90% of the Muslim population in Barbados is made up of the Gujarati Muslim, or the descendants. We also have Muslims from other Caribbean islands who have migrated to Barbados, namely Trinidadians and Guyanese living there. We have a significant number also of Afro-Barbadians who have accepted Islam over the years, and they're starting to grow in number in the community. This mosque is the one in Harts Gap, where a number of the Afro-Barbadian persons who have come into Islam will perform the salat and so on. The statue is one of Bassa. He is a slave in Barbados that fought for his freedom. The historians tell you that his actual name is Busa, and it's quite likely it might have been Musa. But among the persons that fought with him was an African lady who we have traced her roots back to a Muslim tribe in Africa. She actually came from Africa, and she fought alongside Bassa in the rebellion. Unfortunately, the rebellion did not succeed, and all of them were hanged for rebelling. But this statue was unveiled some years ago in his memory. In terms of the Muslim community of Barbados, we are predominantly Hanafi, Sunni. We have a very active Jamaat al-Tabligh among the community. There is the Barbados Muslim Association, which is an umbrella body. We have a Jamiat al-Ulama. Each masjid that we have is self-sustaining. And along with those, we have small groups, organizations, individuals active in various Islamic activities. In terms of the masajid, this is the largest one in the capital city. It's called the Jama Mosque or Jama Masjid. And we have 4 full-fledged masajid on the island. The first one being built in 1951, which is this one. It was expanded in the 80s. The second one built in 1957, which you saw on the first slide. And then we have 2 other masajid. We have a new masjid being constructed currently, and it's a unique project for the Caribbean actually. It's an area where Muslims have moved into, which is close to the University of the West Indies Cave Hill campus. And for many years, Muslims have been trying to get a masjid in that area, but government would not give permission because it's considered for residential only. But what we were able to do was to buy 5 acres of land, divide it up into housing, and put a masjid in the middle of it. So we have a development which has 37 houses around and a masjid in the middle. Now it is not a gated community. Anyone can buy land, buy a house. But when it went on the market, all Muslims bought it. Unfortunately, the media took up this story and made it into a big sensational story, saying, oh, Muslims are having their own compound and commune and so on. But that was not the case. We had to then say that is not the case. Anyone can buy land, but the masjid and the housing facilities around it is happening. We have 2 musallas on the island. One of that musalla will eventually become the masjid. And we have 1 Islamic primary and secondary school, full-fledged school offering government curriculum up to CXC level. We have several madaris on the island, and Barbados boasts one of the highest percentages of hufaz in the Western Hemisphere. We have over 100 Hafiz al-Quran on our island. In fact, we export Hafiz in Ramadan. Some of the islands here have benefited from Hafiz from Barbados, and Japan has also benefited from a Hafiz from Barbados. So we export them. We have over 100, alhamdulillah. It's a culture and a tradition that is continuing, and many youngsters are continuing to memorize the Quran in our community. We have an active sisters organization, which we'll speak about. We have burial sections in the main public and private cemeteries. We have a national zakat fund for Muslims in Barbados. Sorry? I have it here. This is the plan for the new masjid that is going to be built, as I spoken, and this is the school, Al-Falah School. The school actually is bought a set of land to build because it's expanding, and the Islamic Development Bank is assisting in that project. With regards to the sisters and the youth, we have a very active Sisters Barbados Association of Muslim Ladies. They have set themselves up and have been doing a number of very positive activities for Muslim ladies as well as the wider community. In terms of the youth, we've had some youth activities in sports especially. A lot more needs to be done with our young people, and inshallah we hope that that will continue to grow as we progress. With regards to the media, this is one of our strengths. One of our strengths that we can boast about, inshallah, alhamdulillah, Allah has blessed us with this. We have built up an excellent relationship with the media over the last 30 years. That has entitled us to free columns in the newspapers and media, free access to the media to write what we want. We have letters to the editor. We just call up the editor and say, look, we want to write on a subject. You misrepresented us here. We're going to send you a letter. And alhamdulillah, in most cases, these letters are printed, or our columns, our advices start. We have done news stories on radio and TV. We continue to do Ramadan and Eid features. Ramadan is an important time, and I think every one of us here should take this example. Use Ramadan to spread the message of Islam, because the newspapers look for opportunities to write about something. So let them write about Ramadan, let them write about Eid, or you send them the story and they write about it. So we have done that, and we utilize the social media and the internet. This is one of the columns that is in online Barbados newspaper. It comes out weekly, and we can write on any subject that we wish from a social perspective if it so happens. In terms of media coverage, usually we get very good media coverage if something is happening in the Muslim community. In a case like this, the Minister of Education is visiting the Muslim school. The media came and they highlighted that visit. This is some of the things that have appeared in our newspapers over a period of time. Letters to the editors, news stories, things relating to Eid and so on. So we have had a good relationship that we have built up over the years that allows us to respond to different things in the media. Here you see Sabir at the radio station or on television, as he usually does, speaking about different issues. So the media is a very important part of our dawah, and we have been using it quite effectively. With regards to the image of Islam and Muslims on the island, we have very positive community relationships with Barbadians. Barbadians are generally very positive and friendly and accepting, and so we don't have any major issues as it relates to practice of Islam and so on. In this regard, we also have good government support, very positive, freedom of religious practice. And in fact, Muslims are included in national events, and the government continues to recognize this. There's one major issue that we are facing currently, and that is for Muslim women to wear hijab, for ID card and passports, and we've been working on this. This is a picture of the Prime Minister of Barbados meeting with the Muslim community last year. We took the initiative to go to the Prime Minister and meet with him to indicate our support for any national security measures on the island with regards to ISIS, terrorism, and so on, because it was a major issue, as was mentioned earlier, regarding Trinidadians going off to join, and it was a big Caribbean issue. So we took the initiative, went to the Prime Minister and said, listen, we are here, we will support the government in whatever national security initiatives you have. Do not see us as any threat to Barbadian society. And he welcomed that initiative on our part, and the meeting was very cordial. We are usually invited to national government events where we participate to the fullest. We also do a number of interfaith activities. Interfaith is very important because we want to bring other religions on board, and so we do a number of activities. Here we have a sheikh from UK, Sheikh Faid, and he was at the Christian seminary being welcomed by the head of the Christian seminary where he gave a lecture. We have also had a young Muslim lady in Barbados being honored by the Queen for activities among Muslim women in Barbados. So this happened last year, and this is one of a good plus for the Barbadian Muslim community. Last 2 years, 2 years ago, we had all the Christian leaders in Barbados of all the denominations. We invited them to the mosque for a reception and a discussion, and the media covered it, and we had all the Christian leaders, even the Bishop of Barbados, he came, the head of the Pentecostals, Evangelicals, the Methodists, the Moravians, they all came, and we had a reception for them at the mosque, and we said free and open discussions on anything that you wish. And alhamdulillah, that did create a good rapport with the Christian community in Barbados. The Muslim community, for national events. Last year we celebrated 50 years of independence, and each of the mosques on the island, they put up a banner saying that we pray for Barbados and we pray for the community, and we celebrate 50 years of independence with the rest of the Barbados community. So each mosque had this banner up for it. And this has gone back many years, this working with government, and this is an old clipping. The Muslim community, when Barbados became independent in 1966, presented a gift to the government of Barbados, and it was a mahogany table. That table is still in use today by the government of Barbados, by the cabinet that sits every week. They sit at a table that is donated by the Muslim community of Barbados, sit and make decisions. And a lot of them did not know this until we rehashed this story 50 years after and informed them that, hey, the table that you sit at, the Muslims donated this table to you. So we have been very active with government and so on. Our dawah activities have included street dawah, being on via the media, as I mentioned. We engage schools, learning institutions, individual one-on-one, and dawah through charitable acts, distribution of Islamic literatures, public lectures. This is one thing that we did, and I noticed Jamaica did this, and I think Guyana did this as well, a blood drive. If you have not done this in your community, do it. It augurs very well. Giving blood is one of the best things you can do. It's something you can give freely, and you can save a life. And I urge communities to look at this. Organize a blood drive, advertise it, and encourage your Muslim brothers and sisters to go out and give blood. You can do it in association with the National Blood Collecting Center, or however you choose to do it. But it's a good opportunity, and inshallah it will benefit the community. We do hampers, we feed the homeless, through homeless feeding societies. As I said, we have lectures and publics. One of the things that we do, we have a regional police training school in Barbados. Police officers come from the Caribbean to train in Barbados. Some islands I know have sent officers to train in Barbados. We went to them and we said, listen, we would like to do a course here. Now, we didn't tell them that we want to do a course on Islam. We told them we want to do a course on policing among different cultures and faiths and groups. And they readily accepted. We have been doing this course for 8 years now, where we sensitize police to how do you police among diverse communities. And ultimately, the questions always come back about Islam and Muslims. And it's a positive way of giving dawah and sensitizing officers of the law how to deal with Muslims, what to look for. And ultimately, many of them become now closer to Muslims. And some of them even consider Islam. So it's a course that we do with the police officers as they train. We have relationships and links with the outside world which we have built up over the years, Muslim World League, WAMI, Islamic Development Bank, and so on and so forth. There are no missions or embassies of Muslim countries in Barbados. We also have issues relating to getting Hajj and Umrah visas because we have to go to Venezuela, and it's a headache, and I'm sure some of the communities in the Caribbean have the same problems. We have been participating, as I mentioned, we have many Hafiz of Quran, so we have participated in international competitions. This is Dubai. We have been going to Dubai for the last 17 years, sending a Hafiz every year to participate in the Dubai Holy Quran competition. Alhamdulillah, Jazakallah khair. This is the third masjid, which is just on the outskirts of the capital, Bridgetown, inshallah. Jazakallah khair. We invite our brother from Grenada. He's the last presenter for the evening. And if we have some time and we wish, we can do some questions.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm tempted to make you stand and stretch, but since you did that about 10 minutes ago, I'm going to relieve you of that, right? But I don't want you to fall asleep. Earlier on, I think it was said that there were Muslims or persons who, Amerindians who came to the Caribbean. In Grenada, the first known settlers were whom we call Caribs. And it has been said that the Caribs were people who came far from Arab countries. Whether that was true or not, I can't say. But the first of all, the country's name is Grenada. We were settled by the French at one time after they drove the Caribs out, and then eventually by the British. So it has been a British colony for the longest while. The capital is St. George's, population just over 100,000 persons, main language English. Religions, as we say, Christianity, about 97%. The Muslim population is just about 0.5%, and others about 2.5%. The first known Muslims came during the slavery period as Africans. There is historical data to suggest that the Muslims who came to Grenada, they used to assemble for the Eid Salah. They used to march to the one place and have the Eid Salah together. Of course, over a period of time, that stopped. The next known persons to come into Grenada as Muslims, they might have been Indians or people from the Indian subcontinent who came in the indentured period, but there's no known record as far as I know. The next group came around the mid-70s, and first by some Syrians and some Indian businessmen, but the real rebirth of Islam came around the mid-1970s. There was a brother who was born in Grenada, came to Trinidad here, he was part of the regiment, he came back to Grenada, and he started spreading the message of Islam. This was augmented or supported when another brother who was at the university here went back to Grenada, encouraged some of his colleagues to embrace Islam, and as a result, you had a rebirth of Islam around the mid-1970s. Today, we have a population of just over 500 Muslims. Mostly, I would say about 50% of African origin, another 50% of Indian origin. You have in Grenada the St. George's University, well known as university, formerly a medical school, but they do all the sciences now. And every year you have some 100 or so Muslims from various parts of the world who come there to study. They also have Juma Salat and other activities at the university. Most of the Muslims follow the Sunni school of thought. But in recent times, there is a small group of Muslims who follow the Imamiyya, or what some people say as the Shia school of thought. There are some Muslims who are aligned with the Tablighi Jamaat, and there are other Muslims, there are two mosques. Actually, you'll see them at the end of the slide. Most of the Muslims, there are two mosques, one close to the airport. The Muslims in that particular mosque, they align to a large extent with the Jamaat. The other Muslims, they consider themselves Salafis. Most of the Muslims who go to the larger mosque close to the airport, I would say they are of the Indian ancestry. The other mosque, which is much smaller, started a few years ago, mostly of African ancestry. In the northeastern part of the country, in the parish of St. Andrew, there is a Musalla. The mosque closest to the airport, they do have classes Mondays to Fridays, maktab, for young brothers and sisters. And over the years, they've had graduated, I think it's 2 Hafiz. They have participated in the activity in Dubai, the Quranic recitation. They also have a competition, a local competition. And while there's no Muslim women's organization or no Muslim youth organization, the youth also have their own little sporting activities, especially when there are national holidays. At the other mosque, they have classes twice a week, mainly for adults in Quranic studies and also in Islamic studies and in Quranic recitation. There are visits to the prison, mainly by the Muslims from the African ancestry. They visit the prison from time to time, and depending on the population of the prison, they usually hold Jumu'ah Salat there. No organized local radio or TV programs. However, in recent times, the Green Dot TV have actually they started broadcasting in Grenada, so you get a live IBN and TIN 24 hours a day. There are no Islamic publications that are published in Grenada. However, over the years, there have been radio talks, there have been visits to schools and other institutions, especially when invited. And at times, the Muslim community themselves have written and have asked to be invited, and they have accepted. Generally, there's a good relationship between the Muslims and the non-Muslims. As I say, women wearing the face veil in recent times have been subjected to taunts. There have been remarks on radio programs about them, but we have been able to deal with it. There's a government ministry of ecclesiastical affairs which have solicited the participation of the Muslims in national events over the years. In recent times, this has not been taking place. The ministry itself has not been very active. The Islamic Foundation, as I said here, have actually participated in a number of national activities in the past, and they have been invited for discussions on important issues. One of the things that we have tried to establish in Grenada is a Muslim cemetery. There have been applications to the government, but unfortunately, every time we have applied, the Ministry of Health have found some reason to turn down the application. Funds for the establishment of the cemetery, purchasing of the lands, etc., have been accrued. However, this is a project that we're still working on. The political parties, and say, however, senior, political parties There have been some involvement of Muslims in politics over the years. Actually, Muslims have actually run for political office and have been involved in political parties and still currently are. Generally, the politicians have good relations with the Muslims. They have visited the mosques. In recent times, I've seen the charge affairs of the American embassy visiting one of the mosques on almost every Eid and during Ramadan. I think there may be special reasons for that, of course, with the ISIS, you know. There are no organized dawah activities on a regular basis, but as I say, there have been visits to schools and to other institutions, and we have also had visits from several Muslim scholars over the years. Our own brother Dr. Dawood, brother Muhammad Alasi. I think sometime last year or earlier this year, there was another Muslim brother, I can't remember. Mukmin, what's his name? Tijani? Ming, yes. Mufti Ming. He visited Grenada and had a very large audience, well attended, and it was very successful in my opinion. Of course, we have regular visits by the Tablighi Jamaat and they go to the Muslim homes. Generally, there's a very good relationship between the non-Muslim community and the Muslim community. You will see as you walk through the city, I think you constantly hear someone saying Salaam Alaikum. When you look around, it's not really a Muslim giving you salams, it's a non-Muslim saying Salaam Alaikum to you. They call you Aki, you know, you're passing, they say Salaam Alaikum Aki. So you know that the Muslims have been well established over the last 40 or so odd years. There are no embassies in Grenada, but there is a relationship between the government of Grenada and the government of Morocco. Students from Grenada have been given scholarships to study secular disciplines in Morocco. There's relationships with the United Arab Emirates. I think they're currently helping to rebuild the Grenada Parliament that was destroyed during Hurricane Ivan in 2004. There's relations with Kuwait. They've been instrumental in helping in facilitating road building, and also with Turkey. There are no known established relations with any Muslim countries and the Muslim organizations in Grenada. The Islamic Foundation, they have a relationship with the Darul Uloom, which is very, very tight. So a lot of the times you find that they want information on the sighting of the moon, etc. They'll go to the Darul Uloom to get verification. There's some pictures? You didn't get the pictures? Oh, sorry. There were some pictures I had of the mosques in Grenada. Unfortunately, they didn't seem to come out. There's one thing I wanted to make mention of though. Earlier today, going forward, one of the things that we have noticed is that over the years, Muslims have embraced Islam, we have traveled abroad, studied. But it seems to me that there's a lopsidedness in this. There's belief in Allah. You make salah. You fast during Ramadan. Those are 3 pillars. There are 2 more. You got to pay zakat. You got to perform hajj. How do you do that? You have to earn a living, right? But for some reason, it seems to me that when we talk about Islam and when we give dawah to Muslims, the dawah is targeted to a group of Muslims, as if only what they consider the poor people and the ordinary people needs to be given dawah. And people of a certain caliber, you can't approach them to give them dawah. And even when the ordinary people are given dawah and they accept Islam, nothing is done to raise their economic standing to such that they can give zakah, which is the pillar of Islam. And if you can't give zakah and you don't have money, you can't make hajj. So how could your Islam be complete? This morning I heard one of the sisters speaking about zero poverty, etc. What occurred to me, and which I've been saying to Muslims in recent times, is that Muslims, after the demise of the Prophet, peace be upon him, they went all over the world and they became leaders. They were not followers, they were leaders. We talk about zero hunger and poverty. We can only do that, in my opinion, if we take leadership. In the Caribbean, we have a lot of different herbs. Yet we depend on what we call the doctors, etc., to tell us what to do. I gave everyone, most of the people here, 2 nutmegs this morning. The reason is that we have produced something now called nutmeg, which is FDA approved. Athletes, etc., use it. You spray, you get an instant relief. There's several herbs, from soursop to guava, etc. However, if we want to reduce hunger, if we want to deal with the question of health and preventative diseases, the Muslims are the ones who have to do the research and take the lead. Are we going to depend on the non-Muslims? Obviously, in my opinion, part of our responsibility as Muslims is, as Allah says in the Quran, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. I won't even go into that. Rabbana ma khalaqta hadha batina. What does that mean? Oh Allah, not for nothing did you create all of this. Who the ones Allah is speaking to? It's us. He didn't give us all these herbs and all these cures for nothing. He gave it to us so that we can lead, so we can tell the people, and we can improve the lives of the people. But if our dawah, and if our future, and if our young people are to be incentivized to be part of the rebirth of Islam, then in my opinion, these are some of the ways that we have to bring the youth in. We come here, I ain't see many youth here. You go to Juma, you don't see the youth there. Where are the youth? What are we doing to empower these youth, in my opinion, going forward? And I hope that this particular meeting would take the position that as Muslims throughout the region, we would see that the resources that we have in the region and the brain power we have in the region can be used not in the traditional way, establishing a school and going and study traditional medicine and going and study the arts and the sciences, unless we change that and we use those particular institutions to create alternative sources for experimentation, for research, and for improving the lives of the people, then I don't believe that this Islam will be able to reach the heights that we ought to reach. Thank you. Jazakallah khair.
Assalamu alaikum salam. Thank you, Brother Siddiq from Grenada. You've been long in the effort of dawah in this part of the world. We have a session that is expected to begin at 5. I don't see the brothers yet. If there are any pressing questions for the 5 countries that presented, and you want to raise anything quickly and get responses, we may have a couple of minutes before we start the other session.
Just waiting for the presenter.
Okay.
Brother Enkimas.
Okay. Right. We haven't. The presenter isn't here yet for the session. But if there are any questions anyone wants to ask, please. Any of the 5 countries that presented so far, we had Guyana, Suriname, Martinique, Barbados, and Grenada. So any questions anyone would like to ask? I had a question for Suriname. We have always heard that Suriname had a percentage of Muslims of 20%. I noticed that your presentation said you only had about 13 to 14%. If you are correct and Guyana is correct, Guyana is outstripping your percentage of your population. What is accounting for the difference, Suriname? Were you over 20% before and have dropped in your numbers, or has it always been that number? Anyone from Suriname? F is working.
When we look at the figures, we see that there's numbers and growth, and we think that because of some reasons. The first reason is the immigration. A lot of them immigrated to Holland before the independence of Suriname. Because in that period, the political parties, they were saying that when we stay in Suriname, there's a lot of difficulties because Suriname will not get any money anymore from Holland, and there will be a war between the Hindustani and the Africans. So a lot of them, they immigrated to Holland. See in one of the districts that you can see a whole village. They immigrated to Holland, Japanese, and they live in a special part there in Holland. That's one of the reasons. The other reason is that Christians are very active in the last period in converting. They have a special program how to convert Japanese Muslims, and they're focusing on the Muslims that have the Qibla, the West, because they don't have education there among themselves. And I think these are some of the reasons.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Starting at 5:30. So we should be here in 15 minutes.
Okay. Okay, so the other session is not beginning yet, so we have some time. Continue, brother. Salam.
First of all, I want to begin by congratulating the City for such a fine presentation. And I do agree with this call that made of this presentation. And I was encapsulated in my own words, I was talking about the engagement to take place. I just have a couple of comments, and I'll think about it. To the brothers of Suriname, what I would like to say is that I didn't, these were some of the issues that you were facing in your home country. At the interview, for example, I told Brother Stanley that I was actually meeting Surinamese of Indonesian descent. And I'm making a call that we need all those interactions, not just within your own country, but within the Caribbean. I think this conference is a very good thing, because we want to see more of these things. We want to share best practices, our whole country experiences, arts, culture, sciences as well. But not just in the traditional sense as the last brother said, but how are we going to use all of this now to create a new future of us as Muslims in the Caribbean? And what I would say to the brothers of Suriname is that you need to forge that unity so that we live in open, what we will call as best as possible, open societies, so that the politicians will respect who you are and will have to, before certain decisions are taken which affect us as Muslims, there must be some consultation and deep respect. So that's the second one. To the brothers and Barbados, I'm very happy to hear how well received you are by the general population. Because I've been to Barbados several times, and I know Barbados is a very close-minded population. So sometimes I would like to know what struggles you have to go through to convince the mainstream population that stand up to take notice. We are here as Muslims and we have to recognize us. Because I understand what that society are here on both sides of the divide, which is black population and the small white population. So I must say it is a fine presentation that you have put forward, but we would like to know a little more on how we were able to build those bridges with non-Muslim groups to create that high level of trust that exists. I think that is a very important piece, especially for Muslims in the Caribbean, to perhaps embrace and go forward. That's the extent of it.
I'll give way to my brother Sabir to answer your question, inshallah. Jazakallah, thank you very much for your comments.
happened from West Bengal, came in 1910. So what the first thing we did, Rashad Ali Diwan, is that he took a suitcase, put it on his head, took a bus, and went around the countryside, trusted, giving credit to the local Barbadian black community who used to work in the cane field, who could not go to town to buy merchandise they needed. And when they went into town, they had to pay COD, cash. So here you have this Muslim Indian going around crediting, and there was no agreement like what we see now in our purchase agreement. It was a trust. I give you this thing, and then you pay me like an amount next, and then you will give me 10 cents and 15 cents. Of course, that situation happening in United too. And so here, that trust was built from the beginning, from the first day this Indian was going to get into the countryside. And this continues even up to today. And what was it? It transacted what was selling, the basic thing that the Barbadian have done. Barbadian shoes for the children for school, clothing, Christmas season, curtains and Christmas clothing, wedding clothing, bring Easter, bring hats, bring funeral clothing, these are things that they don't, get chairs and mattresses, and these instruments were taken and walked to the upper bottom of the very flat to their homes, and they were picking up 10 cents, 20 cents, 25 cents, and they were taking within. And so that relationship was built. And I think that is one of the reasons our forefathers, my dad, his dad, and his granddad, built this platform for the Muslims of today. So even today, although we have educated our children, we are lawyers and doctors and businessmen, and attorneys and fathers and so on. Yet this relationship continues, but they have moved on this level now. So that they are still working people in the widows who cannot get mortgage or can't get home from the bank, which will turn their little section into a wall bathroom. So what they do? They will go to their one trader who go around and come around on their homes once every week. They will say, okay, let me windows. So now, not only does he furnish tools and clothing, but we now trust windows and rocks. And now I think we are at the stage now, we even trust people the cars. So still that same old system of helping the masses of the people. So I think that strength in helping our biggest, and they perceive it to be so. And so I must add that when I go and talk to Barbados, many Barbadians want to, because they can relate to the relationship that they have with the Indian Muslims, the Barbadian community. The other two things I still wish to say on this test, that the Gujarati Muslims in Barbados, we have always had that culture. So wherever we went, the first thing we do is to build a masjid. And the other thing would be to have madrasa for our people. And of course, Arjuna Gujarati are hard-working business people. So again, I think our success has to do with material that at the same time. But 90% of us are business people or professionals. Therefore, hardly we will need or we will get money from donations from overseas, but we have self-sufficient. We need to plan, we need to work, we have to work and earn. And that eventually then we can go to Hajj, we can have a research and Madaris, and we provide for the children. And two, you need to know that Islam comes first in your life. And you may want to experience. Right now, we are building a masjid near where we live. We have this masjid. But for years, when I did to Kuwaila, I lived at university. And our masjid was like 10 in the world, in town. Just imagine now, when I came to school, 3 o'clock, then I had to take them to Madrasa in town. So, and then when you come back home and traffic teaching, in other words, the dedication of the parents to have the dedication covered for providing Islamic knowledge for your sons and your daughters. Otherwise, you will not succeed.
Thank you. Brother Salim, you have Brother Idris, and then Brother Yunus. Salam. Yes. Khadija.
The first thing we have to remember is that we live in a secular society, and you cannot, I can't say it, basically you can't speak without God. That's the point. Okay? We can, as Muslims, we have a small booklet that we can give to people, but we can't give it up in the street, for example. Okay? As a teacher, I can't say the word God in my classroom.
Wow.
Okay, this is what we do. But in this way, we want to do dawah openly.
Wow. Interesting. You have a follow-up, Salim?
My question is who decides whether it's secular society or not, and whether or not you can speak for God?
Who decides? Like politicians. There are legislations about that. For example, if I talk to my students, why can't I let them don't behave like that? Behave properly, dress properly, but I can't tell them, oh, God is great, He made you, and you must be a good person, etc. I just can't mention that. If I do that, I surely lose my job.
Wow. Idris?
I've benefited a lot in this presentation, especially from mature societies of Guyana, Suriname, and Barbados. I advise lesser communities, we should take note point where the strength of this organization and so on. See how they can help us from Libya, how they can help us when our own program. Question I want to brothers, I've seen one of the biggest threats in the media. I may be wrong, but I think it's more so with Suleiman and Samira. I hope we train more young people to be able to carry on that. And we want your experience that they work out how you can have some training, whether that was done as an individual, something you focus on that, or the Muslim oriented system that we go into that media, that training need, how to deal with the media, how to get people that are, not just, you can't just look at the media like that.
Yeah.
It's up to us with a twist. So we need something very important in that one.
Thank you, Sheikh Idris. Your first point is very important. Take notes from those communities that are matured and have gone through the experiences, learn from their mistakes, learn their successes, and try to use them in the smaller communities that are building up. With regards to the media, it is no formal training that I or Sabir went through in terms of dealing with the media. We learned it as we went along. And yes, inshallah, we want to pass this on to the younger generation. But I think that we need to cultivate the skill to deal with the media. It is important that we are in the media. It is important that we engage with the media. And one of the things that we were able to do was to go and sit with them and say, listen, this is what you have printed. This is false. This is what we are saying in response to this. Would you carry this, or would you continue to carry the false notions? And they said, okay, they're balanced. They will carry the alternative story. So they will maybe carry the false one, but they will carry the alternative. Along with that is you cultivate relationships with the media people. So when it is Eid, invite them to your home. Invite the reporter to your home. Give them a meal at Eid. And say, this is Eid, this is food. Eat with us. And they will do a story on it. And they cultivate relationships with the people in the media. Find out those who are compatible to your thinking. There are some who will be very not compatible, and they will always be that way, but cultivate relationships. And that's what we have done over the years. So at Eid, we invite them to come to our homes, and they sit with us and they have a meal. And anytime there's a story on Islam, they will pick up the phone and they will call. We want your opinion. What is your opinion on this? And alhamdulillah, they will carry. So it's cultivating the thing, and I agree with you, Sheikh Idris. We need to train more people in this regard, inshallah. Brother Yunus? Salam.
First, I want to express my gratitude for the opportunity, and I want to express my deep respect for all speakers of today's so good. And I want to express my discomfort with the last speaker. I don't know his name, and I don't want to ask now, and I'm hoping that the session is not recorded, so that those whom I'm representing will not say, oh, you are speaking when they mention his name. Yes, I was listening, and I have a cup of coffee to bring myself up for the talk. But the way he presented this idea actually woke me and scared the sleep out of me. I can say with all due respect that he is not well versed, at least not memorizing the Holy Quran as we talk about. But there is one part of the Quran that emphasizes not only going through the mechanical written words, but contemplating on the words of the Quran. He was speaking and stumbled on the fact that he said, talking about leadership. And to justify his statement, he said, ربنا ما خلقت هذا باطلا سبحانك فقنا عذاب النار. That is in Surah Al-Imran. But again, this is the point I want to try. Maybe, and this is a powerful maybe. Maybe this is the main exit to the real success of this undertaking. Maybe this is the real seal of this network. There is a principle in those who are really successful in life. One of them said is 5-second counts. If you get an instinct, count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you don't act on that instinct, we are brain work in order to prevent ourselves from happening at all. So, actually, when he said, Rabbana ma khalaqta hadha batilan, I was expecting him to say another verse. And he said, I'm not even going to go to that. I hope it's in the same verse. The Holy Quran says, and I quote, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, kuntum khayra ummatin ukhrijat lin-nas ta'muruna bil-ma'ruf wa tanhawna 'anil munkar wa tu'minuna billah. Look at this. These are action-packed words of the Holy Quran. Kuntum khayra ummatin ukhrijat lin-nas. You are the best of mankind, of the best of nation ever evolved for mankind. For what reason? Ta'muruna bil-ma'ruf. It means that our own around. No, we are in the position of leadership. Ta'muruna bil-ma'ruf wa tanhawna 'anil munkar. So, how do we get out of this? I want to charge the organizers of this program. I don't think it is part of the program, but I'm kind of imploring the organizers to create a special program within the program, so that even if it is going to be 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, it doesn't matter. essential, and if we wait too long, our brain may rise to protect us from going in that direction.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Thank you, brother. Adnan, you had a question? Any other? Salim, your question was answered. You seem a little confused at the fact that the sister cannot give a da'wah in Martinique. Okay.
I am disturbed that in this part of the world, but I am disturbed that in this part of the world, where people talk about democracy, people are not allowed to speak freely about their faith. Very disturbing.
Yeah.
You cannot speak about their religion or talk about their very disturbing.
Noted. Any other question, Brother Tariq? Wa alaikum salam.
Brother, you are disturbed. I want to remember you that you talk about democracy, tolerance, but if you will notice, Mufti Nek, the only Caribbean country where it was not allowed, although we had visa and everything was already planned, the only Caribbean country where it was not allowed was Suriname. So we can talk about democracy and tolerance. We worked day and night to get him there. Everything was planned, but he was not allowed in the last moment. Before everything. So we must strive and for our best, but we should not be surprised. Islamophobia is also here. That's what I want.
Right. So we do recognize that there are challenges that some of our communities are facing. We recognize those challenges and we have to work, inshallah, the best way that we can organize it. Yes, our brother from St. Eustacia. Alaikum salam.
We have to empower our own people to spread the message of Islam. By doing that, they will have to fight that battle within their own countries because they have a right to express themselves and to uphold their religion. It is, to me, it is an international right that each and everyone has, that they can practice their religion in their respective jurisdiction. That's all I want.
Thank you. Sister, you want to respond?
When I
Asim. Asim. Close the screen. Close the screen. Right, so you're ready. Thank you. Brother from Aruba, Abdullah. Salam.
I can relate to this sister, and I understand what she's saying. And I really feel what she, I went through what she's going through. You see, when you are living in a Catholic island, where there are no mosques, there are no other religions, Hindu, only Christian alone, and you have kids going to school, and you have kids with good points on the top, and they cannot they have a diploma, but they cannot get accepted because they are Muslim, because they have the name Abdul Ohad, they have the name Shahid, and those names, they cannot get in, and people with lower points get in those things. So, my brother, I really feel what the sister is saying there, and people, I understand what she means. She cannot say things in this class, she can get fired. That's true. In Aruba, we go through those things. But I really understand what the sister means, and I feel very sad for her because I am there. And I'm there right now. But I don't want to take much time now because I want to have my presentation, and I will explain what life we are going through and what is happening to the Muslim where there is not many Muslims. Where there are a couple Muslims, and we have Muslims that are not united with other Muslims. And Muslims that are only gaining ways in politics and other things just for their benefit and not for the society. I don't want to much more that because we are sharp time for the improvements. But inshallah, one day I will try to become sister again. I really feel for your part and I understand what you're doing.
Thank you. So inshallah we will close the office. Thank you brothers for your comments, sisters. We inshallah have more discussion. Brother is here for the next session, so I will leave you with Brother Asim who will chair the session inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.